Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills housing update. So the numbers are pretty stable this week. So looking at what happened in Georgetown last week, there was 15 sales. Not a super high number, but it's not low by any means. And interestingly, we only had 16 new listings. So the number of new listings is starting to slow down. That's gonna keep the market still moving. Without massive amounts of inventory coming on, we are definitely not going to start to feel this like spike. And that's really what's gonna start changing the market. So far we're pretty balanced. Looking at Acton had 3 sales and 4 new listings, so things are still moving there. There was no sales in Glen Williams and 1 new listing, no sales and no new listings in Limehouse, and there was no sales but 1 new listing in the rural market. So you can see that the sales numbers overall have slowed down quite a bit, but our new listings are definitely not like piling on, so things are pretty balanced right now. Another notable thing is in all of Halton Hills, 6 properties came off the market last week and didn't re-enter. So that's another thing that's going to keep inventory sort of at bay. So looking at all of Halton Hills this week, last week we were at 136. This week we are actually down to 135. That is probably totally correlated to the 6 properties I just talked about that came off the market, but things are really at bay right now when it comes to active inventory. We saw a jump for a couple of weeks in June, and I've been talking about how normally in July and August we stop seeing a lot of new listings hitting the market, and I think we're about to get into that mode. And with buyers still active, not crazy active, but still active, it's really keeping things level. So looking at Georgetown this week, we went from 82 down to 80 active listings. It's still a much higher number than we were used to seeing through like April and May, but it's still a lot lower than where we've been. So this week, inventory down to 80 active listings. Looking at our price points, under 800,000 is up slightly from 4 to 5 active listings, and of those 5, 4 of them are freehold properties. So there's actually only 1 condo unit for sale right now, and everything else is freehold. But basically there is not a lot of good stuff available under 800,000 for the lower price point buyers. 800 to $1 million remain the same this week at 20 active listings. And then these 2 price points are notable. So 1 to 1.5 million took a jump this week from 19 to 23 active listings. We are seeing a lot of stuff hitting the market in that price point. So up to 23 active listings, that's the highest inventory we have seen in a very long time there. Something to note now, the 1.5 million plus price point. We've been talking about this price range because it has been sitting very high and it has been dead. It actually dropped from 39 to 32 active listings this week. I had to like triple count to make sure my numbers weren't off. But then I went back and looked, and 6 of the properties that sold last week in Georgetown were over 1.5 million. So there was a lot of movement randomly in that price point last week. It's literally been dead and sitting so high. And so 6 properties sold over 1.5. So that inventory dropped significantly from 39 to 32. So we'll continue to watch that upper price point. Looking at Acton this week, up slightly from 13 to 14 active listings, but still inventory is sitting relatively low there. Glen Williams is up from 8 to 9 active listings. Limehouse remained the same at 4, and the rural market is down slightly to 28. So if we keep seeing properties coming off the market, as well as not a huge amount of listings hitting the market, we are not going to spiral out of control here. I actually think the summer is going to be fairly balanced. It does feel like the buyers have generally cooled off a bit, and there's just a change in the air. It just feels a little bit different. But I would say overall, like, the market is still pretty strong, and if you're pricing your house well, you're still selling. So we'll be watching how this goes, but generally in July, we do not see a lot of new listings. We just kind of see people that need to list their house because they're sort of in the midst of buying and all of that. So I think our inventory is going to remain relatively low through the summer, especially because we've had a couple weeks where the levels have not been super high. So I will be back next Tuesday watching what happens as we get on with the summer. Have a great week, everyone.